So in this episode we're going to be looking at how you can use your TI-84 graphics calculator to do some things with linear equations and actually determine some of the values we've looked at in previous episodes on your calculator. So first thing we want to do is go to the y equals menu and clear any existing functions that you may have. Now let's start with a simple linear equation, 2x plus 7. We can just type that into our calculator and press the graph button. As you can see, it will graph it in a window, and you can actually change the window depending on what function you are looking at. At the moment, we've got a reasonable view of the linear equation, so I'm not going to bother changing it using the window, but I'll show you how to do that later in this episode. So now let's try and find the X-Intercept. What we can do is press the second function button, and then the calculate button, and then we can go down, using this arrow key here, to one that says 0, and this is very important. So we press the 0 button, and it says left bound, so we need to go to the left of the 0 that we're evaluating. Essentially the 0 is the X-intercept, where the function cuts through that x-axis, the horizontal axis. So what we want to do is we want to move the little arrow key using our little left button here to move the little cursor on the screen until it's left of the x-intercept. Then we press this little enter key down the bottom here, it's the one in the bottom right. And then it asks us for right bound, and to do right bound we just hit the right key until we get past the x-intercept, and then what we do is we press the enter key again just to lock in the right bound. Now it asks us to guess, and we probably don't want to guess. You could have a go at a guess of what it could be just by entering numbers on your number pad, but we just want to know the answer, so we just press enter once more. And we get the answer there. So the x-intercept occurs when x equals negative 3.5 and y equals 0 for our function that we graphed, which was 2x plus 7. So that's how we actually work out the x-intercept on your TI-84. Let's try something else, shall we? Let's go back to the y equals menu. Now let's try graphing 3x plus 5. So we just type them in. Of course, the X key, in case you don't know where it is just this little one here when you're typing it in. But we're going to hit the graph button now. And there we have it. We have two lines, and look, they're intersecting. You may remember in the last video I talked about intersecting. But let's look at this. They cross, and it's not really that obvious sort of where they cross. So we need to change our window size. And the way we go about this is we press this little key here called window. Yeah, window. And we get to set the size of the Cartesian plane here. So we notice that they cross in the positive quadrant when x is positive and y is positive. Of course, I can just hit graph again. Yeah, you can definitely see it's in that positive quadrant. So we only really care about where they intersect at the moment. So we can go back to window, and we can say that the x minimum is 0, because we're only really looking at the positive quadrant. We'll probably go to an x maximum of 10, because we can see that they definitely intersect within that region. And we can set the y minimum to 0, because we know it's in that positive quadrant. It's above the x-axis, so y is greater than 0. And I'll just leave x max on 20 for now. Now we're starting to get a little bit of a better idea of where they're intersecting, these two lines. So of course we have 2x plus 7 and 3x plus 5, but we want to know the exact coordinate value. So again, we go to the second function button down here, second function, and press calculate. And then what we do is we scroll down using this down arrow key to intersect. Then it's asking us for the first curve. The first curve can just be this. We know we're on the 2x plus 7 curve there, and we can see our little cursor on the curve. So I'm just going to press enter because that's our first curve, and then our second curve is obviously the other curve. It's automatically going to cross, so I'm just going to press the enter key again, just like I did with the zeros, and that says to guess. We don't want to guess, we just want to know the answer, so you press enter, and it says that the intersection occurs when x equals 2 and y is 11. So therefore the intersection can be written as 2, 11 as a coordinate. So that's all really. One last thing I will show you though, but what I'll do is actually I'll get rid of one of these functions, is how to find a certain x value. Now let's start with this good old function. It's one of the first we looked at in this series, 0.6x. And with 0.6x, it was obviously looking at the erasers in the very first pilot episode of this season. So we're going to press graph, and we can see 0.6x going on the screen. What we want to do is we want to work out how much it costs to buy 2 erasers. Remember, the cost of an eraser was 60 cents. So what we do is we press second function, calculate, and then the first option is value. So I'm just going to press enter on value, and we want to work out what happens when x equals 2, because remember, if you have seen the video, x was the independent variable number of erasers we're buying. So I enter 2, press enter, and it's going to cost us $1.20 for 2 erasers. 1.2 is the output, y, and that's in dollars, obviously. So that's all for this episode, showing you a few calculator tricks with linear equations on your TI-84. Thank you for watching. Join us next time. However, if you need more practice or more support, check out our apps on the App Store. They have great worked examples, they have incredible worksheets and other materials that can help you really ace exams. We have Formulae for iPhone and Formulae for iPad. Also check us out on Twitter and Facebook to keep up to date with all the educational material that's coming out. Thank you.